Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of Sonic Multiverse. Today we have another requested what if. Thomas Edward Harrison, sorry if I mispronounced that, asks, what if Silver was the ultimate life form? A rather unusual what if, but I think there's something to work with here. Silver and Shadow are two very different characters, so I'd imagine they would both react very differently to the events happening during Sonic Adventure 2. So without further ado, let's get started. Our story begins before the ultimate life form was even created. Gerald Robotnik had learned of his granddaughter Maria's deadly illness. He believed by creating an ultimate creature, he could take a sample of its immortal DNA and reverse engineer a cure for any known disease, including Maria's. And since the authority of the world, GUN, was looking into how to create living weapons, Gerald had an unlimited amount of resources to work with. The professor began his research at an old temple. In the game timeline, the information within these ancient ruins, along with the Black Arms DNA the professor would later acquire, Gerald Robotnik would create the ultimate life form, Shadow the Hedgehog. But in this timeline, things played out differently. Outside the ruins, Gerald found a small quill. It was gray in color, but upon scanning it, it was revealed that the quill was imbued with chaos energy. Gerald believed that the power of the Chaos Emeralds would be the key to creating the ultimate life form, so from this single quill, he would base his ultimate life form project, reverse engineering the creature the quill had once belonged to. On that day, Project Shadow was scrapped, and Project Silver was enacted. It should be noted that although the Black Arms do still exist in this universe, they had no connection with Gerald Robotnik. Since the professor didn't want to corrupt whatever DNA was in this quill, he wouldn't dare mix it with the Black Arms DNA. So in this timeline, there was no deal struck between Gerald and Black Doom. Time passes and the events of the Ark Raid sadly play out the same. GUN wants to silence anyone who knew about the Ultimate Lifeform project, and as Maria tries to help Silver escape, she sadly dies. Although Silver did escape the space colony, he would later be recaptured. 5 decades pass, and Silver is awoken by Gerald's grandson, Dr. Ivo Robotnik, better known as Dr. Eggman. The events of Sonic Adventure 2 play out rather similarly to the original game. Although Silver is hesitant to kill anyone, even GUN, he wishes to avenge Maria's death, because, in his foggy memory, he believes that Maria's dying wish would have been for him to take revenge on humanity. Although, throughout this story, it's made clear that Silver is very on the fence on whether or not he should. Silver would join Eggman and Rouge in their assault on Prison Island. After setting Eggman's series of explosions around the island, he begins to reminisce about everything that's happened up to this point. He thinks about Maria, he thinks about GUN, he thinks about humanity in general, and asks himself, fighting thousands just to avenge one person. Is that the right thing to do? Is that what Maria would really want? Before Silver can get a chance to question this more, he gets a transmission from Rouge. While trying to obtain 3 of the Chaos Emeralds, she's been locked inside GUN's vault with an explosive device. Without hesitation, Silver flies off to try and rescue her. As he soars through the white jungle, Silver comes across Sonic, and a brief fight breaks out between them. Sonic charges at Silver, but Silver simply grabs him with his psychokinesis and slams him onto the ground. Not wishing to make the same mistake twice, Sonic begins to time his attacks better. He waits for Silver to let his guard down before attacking. After 3 well-timed strikes, Silver seems to be down for the count. That's when Silver removes his inhibitor rings.
I'm sorry, Blue Hedgehog, but I can't let you get in my way.
With the inhibitor rings removed, Silver is able to tap into his full chaos powers. Silver raises his hand at Sonic, creating a psychokinetic blade. Chaos Slash! Sonic ducked under the attack, ran to Silver, and then kicked him right in the jaw. This sent the gray hedgehog stumbling backwards before regaining his balance and taking off into the sky. I was hoping not to use this, Silver stated before unveiling a Chaos Emerald, the very same one Rouge had presented to him and Eggman earlier in the game. Instead of immediately plugging it into the Eclipse Cannon, Silver had decided to hold on to the emerald for safekeeping. Silver raised the emerald above his head before enunciating, Chaos Control! Using the power of the emerald and the pure amount of chaos energy in his own body, Silver unveiled a small vortex, one ripping through time and space, similar to the one seen in Sonic 06. Silver was intending to banish Sonic to parts unknown through history, hoping to quickly get rid of the pest and save Rouge before time was up. The portal began to suck small objects into it, like rocks and grass, before growing larger and larger, to a point where even the trees began to lean towards the portal. Sonic was using all of his strength not to get dragged in as well. Silver simply looked at the hedgehog with confusion. It's no use! Give up! Sonic simply smirked at Silver. You clearly don't know me that well, Silver, the blue hedgehog stated, before letting go of the ground, letting the force of the portal pull him towards the ultimate Lifeform. Sonic then quickly rolled into a ball midair and hit Silver as hard as he possibly could. Silver was knocked backwards, almost being trapped in his own portal, but closing it just before he could be engulfed. The only piece of him lost was a single quill that landed somewhere in the past. But the rest of Silver landed hard on the ground. Silver slowly began to get up and put his inhibitor rings back on to preserve whatever strength he had left. Who are you? Silver asked. I'm Sonic the Hedgehog, and I don't give up. The two take fighting positions, preparing to end this conflict, when suddenly Silver's radio informed them that the island was about to explode. With this, both hedgehogs raced off to save their teammates. Silver used Chaos Control to rescue Rouge at the very last second, saving her from imminent death. Aboard the Ark, Silver and Rouge began to talk. Unlike Shadow, Silver was far more talkative and was very open about his past with Rouge. Laying his entire life story out there also gave Silver a chance to really think about what he's doing, and question if this is even what Maria would have wanted. But before Silver had a chance to question it any further, Eggman barged into the room, declaring that it was time to show what they could do with the 6 Chaos Emeralds and the Eclipse Cannon. Silver was under the assumption that they were simply going to unveil the weapon that they had. Silver had no idea Eggman had full intention of using it. Eggman made his infamous announcement, and even destroyed half the moon to show the firepower of the Eclipse Cannon. Silver was horrified. He couldn't believe that Eggman would do something like this. He could tell that the Doctor was unhinged, but this was insanity. At that very moment, Silver denounced his alliance with the Eggman Empire, and used the 6 Chaos Emeralds to warp back to Earth, leaving Eggman with no power once nor ever. Silver no longer felt conflicted. He didn't know what Maria wanted, but he knew what he wanted. He wanted to protect this world from madmen like Eggman. He would protect others so that they didn't have to suffer like he did. However, even with the 6 Chaos Emeralds removed, the Eclipse Cannon was still a force to be reckoned with. Silver had unleashed this threat onto the world, so he felt that it was his responsibility to put an end to it. But to do that, he would need the 7th Chaos Emerald. Silver tracked down Miles Tails Prower, and began to negotiate to get the 7th Chaos Emerald from him. Although Tails was quite hesitant, He could sense that Silver had good intentions, so he handed over the 7th Chaos Emerald. Silver thanked the two-tailed fox before warping into outer space to finish off what he had started. As Silver warped onto the space colony, Eggman's voice suddenly blurted out across the PA system. "Ah, Silver. Glad to see you returned with my emeralds." "Dr. Eggman, I am Silver the Hedgehog, the ultimate life form, and I am here to protect this planet." "Very well. Then I will show you what real evil is." Eggman suddenly dropped down behind Silver in a prototype version of the Egg Emperor suit seen in Sonic Heroes. The Egg Emperor raised its blade, preparing to slice down Silver where he stood, but just before it could collide with the gray hedgehog, a sudden blast of gold shot the mech back. As Eggman looked up, he saw that Silver had used the 7 Chaos Emeralds to turn into Super Silver. Using his newfound strength, Silver used his psychokinesis to pull the Egg Emperor towards him, raising it from the ground before slamming it back down. Before it could even react, Silver enacted Chaos Blast. With the mech destroyed, Silver could now focus on the Eclipse Cannon itself. He warped out into space and used his psychokinesis to rip the cannon apart from the outside. Slab by slab, piece by piece, Silver began to pull the arc cannon apart. He was so focused on dismantling it that he wasn't paying attention to his own ring energy. Just as the last piece of the cannon broke off of the arc, Silver felt his eyes become heavy. His body felt weak. His body began to burn through the atmosphere before colliding with the Earth's surface. His super form had barely protected him from the fall. Silver easily could have died there, but an Eggman robot found him, just outside of one of his bases. When the doctor was informed, he considered killing the hedgehog for his insubordination, but witnessing the pure power the ultimate life form had, he felt it was better to try and replicate his power. So he locked Silver away in a test tube for cloning and further experimentation. Silver would have remained in that test tube if it wasn't for Rouge the Bat, who had broken into Eggman's base, coming across him. As Rouge attempted to free Silver, E123 Omega, the robot left to guard the ultimate life form, was activated. Seeing the gunfire, Silver pushed Rouge out of the way and raised his hands, preparing for the gunfire to strike him down. When suddenly, all the rounds just stopped midair. Silver was using his psychokinesis to stop them, but he didn't understand how he was doing this. He didn't remember anything now that he thought about it. He didn't know who this Batgirl was. He didn't know this machine. He didn't even know how he got here. Upon talking with Rouge and Omega, it became clear to everyone that Silver didn't seem to remember his past. Rouge considered telling Silver about his past, but wasn't even sure if this was the real Silver. I mean, she found him in an Eggman test tube. She didn't even know what he was yet. But for the time being, she decided to trust Silver. She could tell that he wasn't hostile. It also quickly became apparent to everyone that whether their goals was wealth, answers, or revenge, they all had a common enemy, Dr. Eggman. So as a united force, they became Team Grey. So that was What If Silver the Hedgehog was the ultimate life form. Did you like the what if? Did you think this is how Silver would act under these circumstances? What do you think would happen after these events, now that Silver doesn't have any memory of who he was? Would he go down a similar path of self-discovery as Shadow, or would things play out differently? And am I making way too many what-ifs revolving Sonic Adventure 2? Leave your answers in the comments below. Have a good day.